Well, looking at our time, I don't want to hold you over the time that we have allotted, but I still want to encourage everyone to please share in the chat the school from which you are joining and why you are interested in joining today's session. So again, welcome to the future of work, thriving in an AI-driven world. My name is Johnette Ruffner-Ceaser, and I'm joined by my colleague, Erin Ahart. This session is our fourth workshop in our Career Readiness Workshop series this term. And this session and the next one are focused on AI because artificial intelligence is transforming how we work, hire, and lead. And therefore, we want to help you to anticipate the skills, mindsets, and career paths most relevant in this current stage of automation so that you can lead, not just adapt. In a moment, I will share the learning objectives for this session, but the real foundation of this presentation is to calm some of the concerns you may have about AI and the job market and to show you how you can use the technology to your professional advantage. But first, allow Erin and I to properly introduce ourselves. So again, I am Johnette Ruffner-Ceaser, one half of the CCAS Graduate Career Services team. I've been with GW for 3 years as a career counselor. I also own a professional services agency where I primarily support mid to senior level career women through one-to-one career coaching and resume strategy guidance. And now I allow Erin to introduce herself.
Great. Well, hi, everyone. My name is Erin Ahart. I am the other half of your career services team. I'm also a career counselor serving Columbian College graduate students. I'm specifically really interested in helping Gen Z transition from college to their careers. And outside of my full-time role here at GW, I'm also the host of a podcast also geared towards helping Gen Z develop the skills and career readiness competencies that they need in the workforce today.
Awesome. Thank you. So, you all, today, our learning objectives are helping you to understand the current and emerging AI trends shaping the workplace, identify future ready skills and how to develop them, and finally, to develop a strategy for staying competitive in an AI-driven market. Next, Erin will start the presentation by sharing why you shouldn't be afraid of AI.
Perfect. So we want you all to know, do not fear, you are already using AI. And so to set the stage for today's presentation, I just want to help to calm your nerves just a little bit. So we want to acknowledge that learning to use AI can feel overwhelming, and we completely understand these feelings and concerns. Some of you, it feels daunting to understand all the types of the AI tools that you have access to and how to use them because there are so many. And maybe you're wondering, how could I possibly keep up with the advancements in AI to stay competitive in the current job market? Some of you may also feel emotional. You're thinking of some of the ethical and environmental impacts of AI, and you might also be wondering, how can I either use AI or talk about AI while staying true to my beliefs and values? And we'll talk more about that a little later. We're going to address your concerns today, and to the best of our ability, we're really presenting as AI as something that's not positive or negative, but simply the reality of our world and the current job market today. And one thing that we really want you to remember if you are feeling overwhelmed is that you're already using AI. It's already here, it's already a part of our everyday, and it's actually already being built into almost every platform and online tool that you already use. So Google, Microsoft, Canva, sometimes you can turn these AI features off and toggle them off, or sometimes you don't have that ability and it's truly just built into these platforms and it's a part of your everyday. So with that said, you can be for or against using AI. The choice is really yours, and we're presenting this as something because it's a part of our role as career counselors to educate you on something that's so important and part of the workforce and job market today. So we're saying, do not fear. You are already using AI. It's already a part of your everyday because regardless of your stance on it, you can always showcase your knowledge about how AI is already here and already a part of your work. And simply understanding how AI is a part of your life is extremely powerful and impactful as you navigate the job market. And later in this lesson, Johnette and I will also talk about how we use AI in our work and recommendations for you. So to start us off, we're going to talk a little bit about current and emerging AI trends. So I've already set the stage. This is AI is the reality of our world today. So let's talk about how AI fits into the workforce and the current job market. So I attended a conference earlier this summer called the National Association of Colleges and Employers, and I wanted to share just one example of how AI is being used by some hiring managers. So I had a conversation with a recruiter at Duolingo, and this recruiter shared that at one point in the hiring process, applicants were given a test to complete within 1 week. But now, because of AI, applicants are given that test to complete in 1 hour, but they are now allowed to use AI to complete that test. So, the moral of the story is that employers do expect candidates to know how to use AI on some level. However, we'll also talk about that employers should be walking the walk, and they're also teaching you how to use it on the job when you enter the workplace. So, when I asked this recruiter at Duolingo, are applicants expected to know how to use AI? The answer was a confident yes. But to put this into perspective a little bit, Duolingo is also an extremely large company. They received 15,000 applications for just 15 internships this past summer. So that's not the case that you need to be as competitive as these specific interns did interning in the field of software development at Duolingo, because if there's any industry where you absolutely should know AI, it's going to be in the area of software development. It's going to differ depending on your industry, but it's an important takeaway to know that there is some level of expectation, and this expectation is bleeding into other industries because it is so easy to learn how to use AI now. So many YouTube videos you can watch, just quickly go onto YouTube, and there are people sharing how to use AI built into the platforms you're already using and how to learn new platforms. Um, so to recap, employers both train employees how to use AI, but they also expect you to use it at a base level or know how to talk about it. So what are some of these expectations? What are some of the ways that employers expect you to know how to use AI? And while it differs based on the industry and role, here are some pretty general expectations. And I also think that this is going to help to ease your mind just a little bit. So the first way is just to have AI literacy, be able to talk about it. And that's something that we all can do. Understand fundamental AI concepts, such as the difference between analytical and generative AI. Develop an awareness of ethical and responsible use. Understand AI limitations. Learn about AI security and how to use AI securely. Then we get into practical application skills like prompt engineering or how to write prompts that will get you the result you want if you're using ChatGPT, for example, and having a proficiency with AI-powered applications, but that your specific industry uses. You want to focus on using it to elevate your work in your specific industry because we don't have the capacity to learn it all. And finally, augmented human skills. These have become even more important. And we'll, in our next workshop next week, we talk about the human advantage and what you offer that AI can't and never will. So with augmented human skills, you need, without AI, to have critical thinking, problem solving, and verification skills that allow you to verify the information that AI is giving you, creativity and innovation, and adaptability and continuous learning. And to close us out with this stage of the current and emerging AI trends, another trend that's been around for years that you all have probably heard of by now are applicant tracking systems. And AI elevates the use of these applicant tracking systems when employers are looking through applicants. And so the way AI works with Indeed's applicant tracking system, when you submit your application into Indeed, is if I'm an employer looking at this applicant tracking system, AI has sorted these candidates' resumes by top, middle, and low qualified. So that's why we work to make the best resume that we possibly can is because we know that they're going to be categorized into these categories. So to wrap it up, before I hand it back over to Johnette, employers want candidates to either A, know how to use AI, or B, be knowledgeable about it because it is the future of work. And then we have a tool that allows us to increase our effectiveness and our efficiency at work. We want to use AI to elevate the work we already do in just our current industry. We don't have to know it all. Or if you don't want to use AI, understand how it impacts your work and then how you will lean into your human advantages if you choose not to use it. All right, Johnette, I'm turning it back over to you.
Great. Thank you, Erin. So in the next 3 slides, I want to talk a bit about AI tools, AI training and skills, and the fastest growing jobs due to AI. So you all know, and Erin has mentioned this a bit, that AI tools are being used to do all sorts of things, to analyze vast amounts of data, streamline workflows, improve customer service through chatbots, and enhancing decision making, etc. But do you know the various types of AI tools that are making all of this happen? And so there are 6. The first of which is generative. Generative AI tools are capable of creating original content such as text in response to user prompts. So many of you have already probably used ChatGPT, you've used Gemini or Copilot. Those are all generative AI tools. The next are specialized AI tools, and these are tools for research, writing, and coding, such as Notebook LM, or you may actually know Grammarly is a more common one that folks use. So that is considered specialized AI. Creative AI, these are tools that generate images, videos, and music. Some commonly used ones or tools are Canva and Adobe Firefly. And then next, analytical AI. These are specialized in business intelligence, math, statistics, and data visualization, such as Tableau or Python tools that some of you may have used. Next are embedded AI tools. These tools have capabilities in software programs, such as Adobe applications, or more commonly, Google Docs uses embedded AI. So hopefully you're learning a bit more about the tools than you knew before, at least have a category through which you can put them in. And finally is open source AI. These are artificial intelligence systems whose source codes, data sets, and model parameters, are freely available for use, modification, and distribution. So open source is available on communities like Hugging Face or GitHub. So, and the tools that I'm sharing with you are examples. There are many, many more available, but this is designed to give you the basics, a foundation, so that it supports your AI literacy and you can talk intelligently about the various types and forms. Okay. So let's move to AI training and skills. Erin talked a little bit about what employers will be expecting and what you will need to do to prepare. And so I wanted to share with you some statistics around what that looks like. According to research, 87% of employers say AI and big data skills are becoming more important. 86% of employers expect AI and related technologies will drive business transformation within the next 5 years. So current 2025 to 2030. 69% of employers plan to recruit talent skilled in AI tool design and enhancement, and 62% of employers anticipate focusing on hiring individuals with skills to do work with AI. So you can see how being AI savvy is critical to being competitive in the job market. In fact, in a recent interview, the CEO of LinkedIn, Ryan Roslansky, stated that he believes companies will begin to hunt for AI savvy talent who have adaptability to keep up with new ways of thinking instead of chasing candidates with Ivy League degrees. Those are his words, not mine. He also says that he thinks the mindset shift is probably the most exciting things because his guess is that the future of work belongs to anyone who is willing to be adaptable, forward thinking, and ready to learn and really ready to embrace these tools. So his view is just one perspective. Now, I don't necessarily agree that degrees will become less important. I believe your degree coupled with AI tools and adaptability in thinking, flexibility, and being open to discovery and learning what will make you a competitive candidate will be both powerful tools for you as you move forward to pursuing and obtaining professional opportunities. All right. Let's move forward to some of the fastest growing jobs due to AI. These are roles that are believed to increase over the next 5 years. Now, if you do not see your field of study here, this does not mean that you will not find a job. That is not the case at all, but we wanted to make you aware of these types of roles that are projected to increase. But we also want you to be realistic that some roles will decrease. But don't hide from this reality. Instead, start to think about and research your industry to learn more about how AI will impact it and what additional things you can do to stay on top. And so, to help you, I want to share a few things that you can do now. All right. So, to be competitive in today's job market, you must, as we've said, become proficient or at least literate with AI while also developing your distinctly human capabilities. And honestly, you all, this is no different than the gradual move in the late 70s to the early 80s from the typewriter to the computer. So we're just in another phase. So work to dedicate your university years to gaining experience in both domains, traditional skills and AI skills. Mastering both gives you twin superpowers. So here are, if to the left of the chart, you'll see some traditional skills that employers look for in the workforce. Analytical thinking, resilience, flexibility, leadership and social influence, creative thinking, motivation and self-awareness, technological literacy. Okay. But looking on the right side of the chart, you'll see some of the fundamental AI skills that you will need. Writing prompts, as Erin mentioned previously. How do you write a prompt in ChatGPT to get the kind of result that you are looking for? Some technical understanding, basic knowledge of how different types of AI work. Professional applications using AI tools specific to your field. Is it research, data analysis, visualization? And then finally, AI integration, maybe creating workflows and documentation that combine AI and human input. So again, digest this. We will be, just so that you know, you don't have to scramble to jot this down. You can certainly take a screenshot, but we will provide the replay of this session so that you can go back and capture anything you need to capture in order for you to create a game plan for yourself. Okay, so I want to talk with you a bit about how to develop these AI skills. And these are things that you can do right now. And the first of which is to connect with your professors and professional mentors who can share what they know about AI related to your field of study. We always encourage students to connect with faculty for the purposes of building your network. And Erin and I, we always say this, we're generalists. We're not specialists in your field. However, your faculty members are. So meet with them to talk about AI and any other factors that may be impacting your field so that you can get that specialized insight from them as you move forward. All right. Uh, Next, number two, start maybe taking some courses focused on AI tools and applications. And one way or one place to get that is on LinkedIn Learning. By the way, if you're not on LinkedIn, please create a profile. And Erin and I can support you in doing that. And we also have recordings that can help you to do that as well. But here are a few examples that are currently available on LinkedIn Learning. Artificial Intelligence Foundations, Machine Learning, that's for beginners. Introduction to Generative AI with GPT, again, beginner. If you're somewhere middle of the road, Build with AI, how to create custom chatbots. Or if you're really advanced, generative AI working with large models. So these are, I believe those are free opportunities. And if they are not, they're minimal in cost. So utilize LinkedIn Learning to support you in becoming more literate with AI and how you can use it in your profession. All right. Number three, complete an AI certification program. There are many available certification programs, but they may only make sense for individuals seeking practical, in-depth AI training in an accelerated format. AI classes usually follow a structured curriculum that systematically teaches fundamental AI concepts and techniques. And many courses emphasize hands-on learning projects and allow self-motivated learners to apply some really theoretical knowledge in the real world scenarios and build portfolios of their work. But like any training program, you want to make sure that those programs are right for you. And so you want to think about what's your career goal? Does it make sense to pursue a certification training? And because these trainings take time, what is your availability in being able to pursue that? And then finally, as it relates to completing an AI certification, I want you to know that some AI certification programs offer job guarantees, promising tuition refunds if you don't secure a qualifying job within a certain period of post-graduation. And under these guarantees, some course providers offer assurances that you'll find a role with a specified minimum salary within a set time frame. So keep all of these options in mind as you move forward to really upgrade and up level yourself as it relates to AI tools and AI literacy. Next, join an AI professional organization. I have identified the top 5 student-friendly organizations. Keeping up with new developments in AI requires more than just staying informed. It requires being a part of a community, particularly of AI experts, researchers, and practitioners. And one of the best ways to remain career relevant, marketable, and valuable and competitive is to actively participate in professional associations. So here are a few, the Association for the Advancement of Artificial Intelligence. You see the names of the organizations on the left, and on the right, you see a brief description and the student fees, the professional fees. So again, it's a small price to pay to be a part of some of these communities so that you can be abreast of all that's happening in these places and spaces where AI is being discussed, and to really understand the future and where we're headed so that that can better prepare you for where you are going in your career. Okay. Finally, build a portfolio that showcases your AI skills. Um, Anyone in all disciplines can and should use AI right now. And so we thought it would be important to share some examples and ideas of how you can do this. So, if you're in the arts and humanities, you could use AI to analyze large data sets of historical information like census records to identify patterns and trends. If you're in health sciences, you could use AI to generate personalized diet plans based on different health conditions. And if you go to the next slide, you can also, if you're in education, use AI to generate differentiated instructional materials to meet the diverse learning needs of students. So you can see, I believe every discipline that's represented on this call is on this screen. And so digest it. Think about how you can use AI. Be creative. Talk to your professors, talk to your mentors about your thoughts, about your concerns. Pick their brains so that you are, one, not afraid to continue to move forward in this space and you continue to enhance your AI literacy, again, making you extremely competitive in the future marketplace. And now I'll hand it over to Erin.
All right. So Dr. Ruffner-Ceaser already shared some amazing ways that you can start to incorporate AI into your work. So we thought it would be helpful to share how we use AI. And specifically, I'll talk about how AI helps me with creativity, because this is a lens that not everyone views AI through. So just to recap, future skills will be based on adaptability, digital literacy, and the ability to interact with AI. You need to also have strong problem solving, critical thinking, and creativity skills to take complex difficulties, as well as emotional intelligence and communication skills to work effectively. And so now I'm going to share how I use AI. So, I mentioned in my introduction that I'm also really interested in podcasting. And so, one of the first ways that I want to share is that I use AI to generate captions and chapters for a podcast or for a workshop that Johnette and I would develop if we're using YouTube. But AI can create generated captions and chapters in Premiere Pro, Spotify, and YouTube, which increases accessibility and it enhances the listener's experience or viewer's experience. So let's take YouTube, for example. Whenever you're going through a YouTube video, YouTube now uses AI to add chapters that categorizes and shows you which sections the host is going to talk about certain topics. That's AI, really simple, and that's an example of an embedded AI tool. The next way I'll share is that I use AI generated transcripts to help me organize my ideas. So, one of the ways when I'm thinking of an idea, and maybe it's not during the workday, but I want to save it and remember it so I can come back later, is I record a voice memo and I take out my iPhone, I press record on the voice memo, and I start talking through some of the ideas that are in my head. The AI on your iPhone through the Voice Memos app will automatically generate a transcript. And so you can copy and paste that transcript, email it to yourself, and then paste that transcript into ChatGPT and use a prompt that tells ChatGPT, I recorded this voice memo on these thoughts or topics that I'm thinking through for a future, well, let's take a career readiness workshop, for example. And then you would ask ChatGPT, organize my thoughts into the main categories that these thoughts fall into, and what would be a good structure for a workshop based on these ideas. And so this is not idea generation. ChatGPT is not creating anything or adding anything to a workshop idea that we would have. It's just organizing your thoughts and putting it into categories, which really can be a huge time saver. And one of the ways that you should be using AI is to complete more work in the same amount of time because of the productivity tools that it offers. So that's a great example of how it increases my productivity. Another thing that you can use and that I use is if I'm using Canva and I'm editing anything with audio, instead of having to learn the audio editing tools on my own, I can go to Canva and there's an enhance voice AI feature that will enhance the voice in any audio that I'm editing and make it ready to go for the platforms. Let's say, again, we'll take YouTube, for example. If the audio in a workshop that we record is a little quiet, Canva or other platforms can quickly just enhance the voice and make it louder and more radio ready. And then finally, I use ChatGPT in my own work with students to help students better articulate their experiences in resume bullet points. And I also use the Grammarly extension in my own browser to correct my grammatical errors in emails, LinkedIn messages, or any other online communication. And so again, this is not idea generation, but it helps with productivity and the quality. The other way that you should be using AI is to increase effectiveness or the quality of your work. So students, I never tell students to use ChatGPT to add things that aren't true about what their experience is to their resume. But something like ChatGPT and Grammarly can help people better articulate what they've done to make a greater impact. And so that's what I mean by increasing quality. Okay, so those are just some of the ways that I've used AI before. So again, what are some practical ways that you can use AI to stay competitive? So you've heard me mention how AI should be used to increase either your efficiency or your productivity, or to increase your effectiveness or the quality of your work. So here is another story that I'll share that I gained from this conference that I attended that really helped me understand that that was the goal of AI. So I met Fatima Jaffer, who is the VP and head of early talent in North America at TD Bank, and she shared that employees will be expected to accomplish more in their roles because they now have access to AI. The nature of entry-level roles will change, and employees will be asked to complete tasks that can be completed using AI in order to free up more senior level professionals to do complex work. So, what should you do? You should again use AI to increase your productivity in your specific area of work because again, this is a really important part of entry level roles now. You should be researching how AI is used in your industry specifically and run with it and then focus on that. And again, it's too overwhelming to learn it all. So stick to learning 2 to 3 new AI platforms or 2 to 3 new ways to use embedded AI as action steps following this presentation today. And again, think about how you can, one, increase efficiency or productivity, doing more work in the same amount of time, and two, increasing effectiveness or the quality of your work. Do better work that yields greater results. Now, we can't present an entire workshop about AI without addressing some of the ethical and social challenges. I've had lots of conversations about this with students in career counseling sessions. So, as AI becomes more incorporated into the workplace, ethical, environmental, and social challenges develop, including worries about fairness, privacy, and inequity and inequality. As you choose how and whether you will use AI, we encourage you to do your own research to help inform the decisions that you make. So I just want to highlight a couple of articles that I found. The first one is an MIT article that shares Gen AI's environmental impact. So rapid development and deployment of powerful Gen AI models does come with environmental consequences, including increased electricity demand and water consumption. There's another article by the ACLU, How AI Can Deepen Racial and Economic Inequalities and Inequities. This was a summit that highlighted civil rights in the digital age, and leaders convened to evaluate the landscape of AI in tech and how we can call for policies that center privacy, fairness, and equity. At the bottom, there's an article that I found that was really interesting by the BBC. And this wasn't, any expert advice or knowledge. It was simply just quotes from people who choose not to use AI. So if you're interested in these perspectives, you can read this article, Perspectives from People Who Choose Not to Use AI. And then there's also a YouTube video by Anthropic that goes through the societal impacts of AI. It's about 8 minutes long. So environmental impacts, racial and economic inequalities, societal impacts. So we want to share this because the harmful impacts of AI are very real. However, the power and opportunity that AI provides is also very real. And this is now a reality. This is where the future of work is going. There's so much discourse and conversation about AI, how we should use it appropriately. And we still don't quite understand how to best manage it, given that it is still an extremely powerful tool that will be used in the future. There's no denying that. So, we just want to acknowledge this since so many students have brought it up. And we just want you to do your research and know that Johnette and I respect whatever choices you make around AI. Again, this is our job as career counselors to share where the world is going, acknowledge some harmful impacts that AI brings, but also the power and opportunity of AI. So we didn't want to go through this workshop series without addressing that. And that concludes our workshop, but I will turn it over to you, Johnette, for any final thoughts.
Uh, Thank you all for joining us, and we hope that we have achieved our foundational goal, which is to calm any concerns that you may have, but also having increased your knowledge about AI, and then finally you having the choice to determine how you will engage with it or not. And so, with that being said, we want to definitely open the floor for you to ask any questions or to provide any feedback as it relates to the information that we've shared with you today. And you can put that in the chat, or you can unmute yourself if you have any questions or comments. Okay. If you're still thinking about, if you have a question or a comment, we want you to know that Erin and I offer one-to-one career counseling Monday through Friday. And I do it, we both do it virtually, but Erin can do it in person as well. And so if you have any questions about your resume or about AI and how to incorporate projects or being more intentional about combining your interest with AI or otherwise, it doesn't even have to be AI related. We want to invite you to talk with us. There is research or a statistic that we use very often that meeting with career services at least once can cut your career or your job search in half. So you could count this as one, but we hope that you would come back and engage with us one-to-one so that we can support you more directly. Now, if you are here and you're not a part of CCAS, we would encourage you to connect with your school's career services department. But if you are within CCAS, you certainly can meet with us, and we are very, very happy to support you. All right. Are there any questions or comments? How about this? Was this helpful? If you would put that in the chat, was it worth your 45 minutes to learn? Great. Thank you, Juliet. We appreciate you. Awesome, awesome, beautiful. So as
Great.
Erin mentioned, as we'll proceed to close, next Thursday, is it Erin? We'll be talking
Yes.
about the human advantage. There are some things that AI cannot do, and we want you to be well equipped to understand that, to operate in that, and to stand firm in that, knowing that you have a human competitive advantage. So come back and join us. And you can find that opportunity on Handshake, where you can register in the same way that you registered for this experience. And I believe someone asked about slides. Is that right?
Yes. So after every workshop, we upload the recording to our YouTube channel. And so the following week, I send out that workshop recording on our in our weekly newsletters, which are on Tuesdays. So on Tuesday, you will receive the workshop recording in our featured replay of the week section of our newsletter.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, everyone. Well, again, we thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you at our next presentation next Thursday at noon. Thank you so much.